DroneTalks is an online platform to spread ideas and to educate in the drone ecosystem. At DroneTalks, we discuss technology, regulatory, business and ecosystem topics openly with industry leaders to enable and foster innovation for a better future.
Today, I'm talking with Lorenzo Murzilli, Leader Innovation and Digitalisation Unit at Federal Office of Civil Aviation, Switzerland. Welcome, Lorenzo. Thank you for joining to DroneTalks.
Thanks to you, and welcome to our viewers.
So my first question is that the Swiss FOCA is famous about two achievements. One of them is implementing the SORA methodology, and the other one is the Swiss Use Space Implementation Program, SUSI. Can you please share what's the secret behind, what's the key for these two achievements?
With much pleasure. So the both achievements have to do with people. So we identified for both endeavors a need, first of all. There was a clear need for drone operators that needed to fly. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that was not possible at all to operate. And there was a need for them to create a risk assessment methodology for authorities to approve their operation. And the assumptions of the time, they were not the correct ones. So there was a need to create a new methodology. There was a need to create a new system that they could actually use. And that's what the Swiss FOCA, together with an international team in Jarus of today more than 100 people, set up to do. Cover those needs, change the assumptions. If you look at the Swiss Use Space implementation, it's somehow the same thing. Now that those drone operators are flying, there is a need to manage them in the sky. And the current assumptions to do that are not sufficient. They are not correct anymore. So there is a need for a new paradigm, a new traffic management paradigm. And that's again what the Swiss FOCA is trying to do. So we created the Swiss Use Space implementation, which is a public-private partnership between us and 27 other companies globally to look at their needs and to try to cover those needs with different assumptions that eventually we plan to become regulation, both in Switzerland and in Europe.
So SUSI sounds super interesting. So like public and private companies working together in an innovative way to implement drones to the Swiss use space. But why is this different? What's the unique spice of it?
So when it comes to implementing new technology, what you need is the courage to explore, and you need the ecosystem to explore, and you need the management and the skills to explore. So SUSI is an attempt to respond to all those needs. What we want to do is to explore options for modernizing a traffic management system and not to make assumptions about it. We don't want wishes or beliefs. We want hard facts, proven data that shows us how things should be done versus how things should not be done, because they will not work. So, after having heard for many, many months ideas, wishes and beliefs, we said, let's put down a new paradigm. We create a public-private partnership between companies that are actually doing UTM today. And as an authority, we want to listen to them. We want to allow them to explore and come back to us with data, with facts that we can use to actually create meaningful regulation. And that's what we did. That was our plea to those companies. The setup was very simple: a memorandum of cooperation, a CONOP that we can all agree on, and a non-disclosure agreement that allows us to work together. And off we go. We unleashed those companies and we told them, innovate and tell us how to regulate this innovation in the most efficient and effective way. We did that already. We have a functioning flight information management system to which those companies are already connected. We have done a demonstration of remote identification, and what's coming next, by the end of this year, we will implement remote ID Swiss-wide on a voluntary basis. After that, we are looking at ASTM EUROCAE for new standards to test and implement. The UTM standard is coming, flight deconfliction is coming, geo zones is coming, and the SUSI team is ready to implement and demonstrate, and first demonstrate, of course, but then actually implement all of these standards on the Swiss territory.
So Lorenzo, what's next? You have this privileged situation being an innovator, regulator, what do you see? What's going to happen with drones in the next 3 years?
Excellent question. You know, when I do predictions at 3 years' time with drones, they are always wrong. So I'll try to stick to maybe a few months and I'll give you a bit of a perspective what we are seeing from a Swiss FOCA point of view. You know, in the past couple of years, we have facilitated a lot of demonstration. UTM demonstration, drone operation demonstrations. There were demonstrations all over the place. And the question was, will those demonstrations ever convert into actual business? Will we actually have a business? Now, no surprise, many of these demonstrations did not convert to actual business. But what we are seeing these days is there are several business cases in the drone industry that are emerging, even in a small country like Switzerland, that, as you can imagine, doesn't have a massive market. Let me give you a simple example. Few months ago and last year, we facilitated the creation of a standard scenario related to crop spraying, the ability to spray crop and fields with drones in areas where helicopters would be either ineffective or too polluting or too noisy. So somehow in parallel with those helicopter operations. It was a simple idea. Today, we have almost 20 companies in Switzerland doing crop spraying successfully in season and making a business out of that. The other example that probably everybody is familiar with is that of the Swiss Post in collaboration with Matternet. Plenty of demonstrations done over the city of Lugano initially, at Zurich. Now, a real business case, a real operation occurring in those cities, delivering blood samples between hospitals successfully and safely. So what we are seeing is finally the emergence of these business cases. They exist. There is possibility with drones to make money and to create value to the population. What we need now is scaling. We need to scale. And to scale, we need UTM. And that's why we are so much engaged in UTM. So what I see in the future will be the emergence of UTM service, the implementation, the deployment of those services, especially those that are standardized by example ASTM or EUROCAE. We want to see those services emerge. And there we want to test the business assumptions around UTM service provision as well. So that's what I see next year and the year after. Emergence of UTM services and pairing those services with existing operation, potentially scaling those to the size and the complexity they need to generate profit. And I think this is happening. So I'm really excited about it.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for the great interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much for hosting.
For joining us today. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and visit our webpage, DroneTalks.online.